You apply your blush, but it ended up looking like a sunburn. You have no idea where to apply, and the color doesn't quite match. If this sounds familiar, this video will guide you step by step to achieve your perfect blush look. How to find the perfect blush color, where to apply it, and how to apply it. To prove this method is effective, I gathered 5 makeup tutorials from my beautiful followers, analyzed their blush application, product choices, and then sent them personalized tips along with the best product recommendation for their skin tone. As a result, all of them saw an improvement. By watching this video, you can also find your perfect blusher shade, so let's get started. First mistake is dragging the applicator. This is what I noticed in Lana's video. After applying a cream blush to her cheek with a brush, she started to dragging the product towards the temple. Even the pressure seemed a bit harsh, as you could see her eyes and the skin around them moving. After doing this, there was no product left on the front of her cheek, only on the sides. And the same thing happened with Lucia. When she applied her blush using a sponge, she started with a tapping motion, but then switched to wiping the product with the sponge. As a result, there was nothing left on the front of her cheek, and the product only remained around the temple area because she was pushing it backward. That's probably the reason why she used 2 different products for more color payoff. When you use a backward wiping motion to apply blush, the product will mostly stay on the side of your cheek and temple because you are wiping it backward. This can make your temple area stand out, which is not flattering for everyone. The color can also end up looking uneven, so it might not give you a natural diffuse blush look. So instead of using a backward motions, try gently tap the product with small amount. The reason why you would keep swiping the product would be because there's too much product on your cheek than you would need. So starting small amount will be helpful and you will not use any product. So place the product on the back of your hands before you apply will be helpful as well. After that, gently start with the side of your cheek and gently tap and diffuse. If you need to move the product a bit inward, be gentle, not too harshly. This way, you will get the most natural blush look. If you compare blush that face from inwards to outward versus outward to inwards, you will see which one looks more natural. For Lana, I suggest her to use her fingers to apply a cream blush and first place a product on the back of her hands to control amount of the product she wants to use. Instead of focusing on the highest part of her cheeks, I recommend try placing the blush on the apples of her cheeks and blend it using a tapping motion with fingers. The result, it perfectly complements her youthful appearance and overall look. For Lucia, I also recommend using her fingers to apply cream blush, using a gentle tapping motion instead of using sponge with a dragging motion. As a result, the color spreads evenly across her cheeks and blends more naturally, rather than sitting on the sides. Second mistake is wrong applicator. When I watched Rebecca's blush tutorial, I noticed she was using a buffing brush to apply road blush, which is a cream formula. Although the pigment of the road blush is quite intense, blending with a brush can make the color to fade a lot. And the product has shine finish, so glow from the product will disappear when using the brush. As I saw earlier, Lucia used a beauty blender to apply her liquid and cream blushes, but the product seems to fade quickly. She had to keep adding more product to make the color stand out. So when using a cream blush, instead of applying dots directly to your cheek and blending with a brush, try placing the product on the brush first, then applying to your face. Adding dots or swiping the product can lead to uneven coverage and it'll make you to spend more time blending. Personally, I love this type of buffing brush when using a liquid blush, especially this Hourglass liquid blush. These two are just perfect duo. Even though I'm not a huge fan of using a brush to apply cream or liquid blush, so it really depends on the product consistency, formulas, everything, but when the liquid product has more gel-like consistency, it might not go well with the brush, but when it's more like a liquidy, like this type of fluid liquid blush, it will go well with this type of buffing brush. When it comes to sponge tends to absorb liquid product, so when you use a sponge to apply cream or liquid blush, it often soaks up a lot of the product, giving you much less coverage and pigment compared to using your fingers. So to get the most coverage and not waste any product, I highly recommend using fingers, especially when using cream blush. However, if you still prefer the look you can get from using a sponge or beauty blender, you can first apply the product with your fingers and spread, then use a sponge to softly blend the edges for a more seamless finish. Since Rebecca says she usually uses a brush to apply cream or any blush, so I suggest her to use her fingers to apply blush just to get out of her comfort zone. And for a change product, I sent her this house-led cream stick type blush that is very hydrating and finger friendly. The result is a natural, beautiful look. For Lucia, after she used her fingers to apply and blend the blush, I noticed that the glow still remained on her cheek area, so I'm so happy with the result. Third mistake is the blush goes below the nostril. When I watched Rihanna's blush tutorial, I noticed she used a downward motion when applying her blush, extending it below her nostril. Applying blush below your nose can make your face appear droopy, so it is important to keep blush above those areas. Regardless your face shape, applying blush too low can make your face look wider and less defined. Whereas applying blush higher on the cheekbones create a lifting effect, which is generally more flattering for most face shapes, unless you want that boyfriend blush look that should go all over like lower cheek area or certain type of look. First mistake is unmatched shade with your hair color and skin undertone. When I watched Lucia's video, she used warm red and orangish blush shades on her cheek. She mentioned that she loves a sun-kissed look. That's probably the reason why she used more like a warm tone shades. But given her cool tone mauve, more like a wine hair color, the warm orange color wouldn't match that much. Lucia says she has warm olive undertones, and for olive undertone, orange is not a good choice. I would always recommend using shades like a mauve or more like a pink base color for olive undertones. So I sent her this Say Dew blush in the shade Dreamy. It is more like a mauve pink shade that will perfectly match with her hair color, and as a result, it looks perfectly matched and so beautiful. When I watched Rihanna's blush video, I noticed that on one side she applied a light warm peach shade, while on the other side she used a muted light pink shade that appeared more neutral. Since she used both light shades, the color didn't seem very visible and the blush pigment itself was too sheer. Looking at her neck and chest area, she appeared to have more like an ashy tone with more of warm, so she might have neutral / warm undertone. So I sent her the mid-tone pink shade with a bit of warm undertone to match her skin undertone. And voila, the mid-tone warm pink shade looked perfectly matched with her natural complexion and it looks so beautiful. So if you dye your hair color is not a natural brown or black, it is so important to match your makeup and hair color. When it comes to matching your blush shade with your skin undertones, I have neutral / olive undertones and my worst shade is orange shade. It just doesn't work for me. So my best shades would be more like a neutral mid-tone pink shade, especially for my everyday look. I have a full video on how to find your undertone and review of 30 cream blushes where I analyze shades and give recommendations for each undertone, so make sure to check it out. Last mistake is wrong blush placement. This is something all of my followers struggle the most. They don't know which face shape they have, so that they don't know where to apply. Talking about blush placement is a whole other story, but if I give you a brief explanation, starting off her face shape, Lara has a hard face shape, meaning her forehead is wider than her lower face. She used to apply blush on the highest point of her cheekbones, which makes her face look wider. But if you want to achieve a softer look, try focusing the blush towards the center of your face instead. This adds dimensions, creating a more useful appearance, which I personally think it suits her better. Speaking of diamond face shape, Lucia has a mix of round and diamond face shapes. A diamond face shape means that the forehead and chin are relatively narrower than the center of the face. Instead of applying too much product on the highest point of her cheekbones, which can make the center appear wider, I suggest try focusing the product more towards the center of the face. This will help balance the overall width of her face. If you have oval face, like Rebecca, she has a mix of square and oval face shapes, but leans more towards an oval shape. For this case, the blush should focus on drawing attention to the center of the face. A horizontal placement works best as it creates a shortening effect, balancing the overall look. If you have square face like Rihanna, she has a mix of square and round face shape. A round face, a little sweep of blush upwards for a soft lifting effect works best. So that's all about blush do's and don'ts. I hope you guys find it very helpful, and huge thank you for my beautiful followers who sent their makeup videos and share their routines and mistakes. The intention of this video is not to point out what's wrong. It's more about learning yourself, what face shape you have, what undertone you have, and learn about how to enhance your features with using the right tool and right color and everything. I always think about how I can improve your makeup routine without physically correcting it in person. And I found that this method actually worked after seeing all of my followers' results. So in my next video, I decided to contour do's and don'ts. So if you struggle with contouring, where to apply, what kind of face shape you have, I will give you a personalized tips and all the analysis. So please make sure to check out the description box to apply. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye!